Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. Today I want to talk about Hertz speakers. We are an authorized Hertz dealer. We have been for over 10 years. When I first started in the motorcycle game years ago, we used to use Hertz car speakers on bikes. We started with the high energies, and then we went to the Mille Pros because it was the loudest car speaker that took the abuse and was pretty weather resistant, but it was never designed for a bike. So I get calls, and sometimes customers specifically ask for a Mille Pro because they know it's an excellent 6x9 and excellent 6.5, but they now make the correct part numbers, so you should not be using these speakers on a bike anymore. This is a Mille Pro coaxial. We're actually taking it out of a customer's bike and upgrading him to the new weatherproof SPL show. Okay, so the Mille Pro is an excellent coaxial speaker, ferrite magnet. You get away with using it on a bike because it's a rubber surround and a plastic cone, but when water gets in between the tweeter and the cone, it destroys the voice coil. So this customer actually got some rain on the speaker and the speaker seized up, so we're upgrading him to the proper speaker. Same power handling. The Mille Pro has a little more mid bass, but this speaker plays louder with less power. It has a much higher sensitivity. So, and that's ferrite magnet. This is a neo magnet, so it's a much lighter magnet, less weight on your fairing, and it's a drop-in fit, no modifications. You don't have to grind, cut, heat up the pods, nothing, because it uses a really strong neo magnet. It's got the same 200 watt peak power handling as this speaker, but it's got much higher sensitivity, so it'll play much louder with less input. So the new one has a sensitivity, and the part number is SX165 Neo. That's in the SPL show line from Hertz. These speakers are weather resistant, UV treated. If you've seen my test, I actually fill the cone of the speaker with water and let it sit overnight. So this is the correct speaker to use on the bike. This is it. You'll see the weatherproofs on the box. So this speaker has a frequency response of 100 to 20,000 hertz. This one played a little bit lower. It played down to 45 hertz, but you're giving up a lot of output for that little extra mid bass that you get. And I guarantee you that if you ran this speaker on more conservative power, you could cross it over low at 45 or 50 hertz. But you get so much more output because this speaker has a sensitivity of 96.5 versus the sensitivity of the Mille Pro, which is only 92. That's a huge difference. You have to remember that 3 dB, a difference is 3 dB, is technically twice as loud. So that's a huge difference. So this speaker on the same amount of power will play much louder than this speaker. Even if you weren't concerned with the output, this speaker has a rubber boot between the cone and the tweeter, so no water gets in there. So this speaker is weatherproof. So if you get rained on or watch the bike get splashed on, you don't have to worry about destroying the speaker. This is the proper speaker to use. And they're the same price. As a matter of fact, no, they're not the same price. Mille Pro is more expensive. The correct speaker is actually cheaper. This speaker is $300 a set. Now I have to check in the price book, but I know for a fact that the Mille coaxials, I believe they're $400 a set. So to do it the right way actually costs you less, and then you have no warranty nightmares. Same thing with the Mille Pro MPX 690.3. We started with the high energy 6x9, which set the standard for the loudest 6x9 you could put on a motorcycle at the time, and then it went to the Mille Pro MPX. Same problem. This speaker is less sensitive and it's not water resistant. Water gets in the cone, destroys the voice coil. This is the correct speaker to use. And I actually did a test. If you go through my older YouTube videos, I did a test of the Mille Pro versus the SPL Show SX Neo 690. The 690 even played lower. So you get more bass, weather resistant, ton of power handling. We run up to 400 watts RMS each on each of these Hertz 6x9s. We do it all the time. We do a sound digital 800.4 bridged. We run these in the lids, 400 watts to each side. DSP with steep slopes. These things handle the power all day and play down to about 60 hertz we've done them at. So that's a really good amount of mid bass. We have customers riding around not adding subs or mid bass drivers to the bags because we can get a really good bass out of just 6x9s. Most of the installs we do is our stage 3, which is front speakers, so it would be fairing speakers or fairings and lowers or fairings and lids, and then a set of 8s in the bags. But we have clients that on the same exact amount of power opt not to do the 8s in the bags and just double up the power of the 6x9s, and these 6x9s can take it. These and the Diamond Audio are our go-to, but our absolute favorite are the Hertz SPL Show SX690 Neos, our absolute favorite 6x9 speaker in a car and a bike. That they also make it in a coaxial, so if you want to pair the ST25 tweeter, which has been upgraded to an ST25 Neo, if you destroy the voice coil, they now make a cartridge for it, so you just replace the cartridge instead of soldering on the voice coil. And if you use that tweeter, this is the mid-range you want to pair it up with. Same thing, drop-in fit. It's actually physically the same as the coaxial speaker, it just doesn't have the tweeter in the middle. So it's got the same power handling as its older SV 165 SPL Show. So same sensitivity, same frequency response. So we have 97 dB sensitivity and 97 dB sensitivity. They're both 4 ohms, and they both have identical frequency response. So it's a lighter speaker because the older one uses a ferrite magnet, the new one uses a neomagnet, so it's lighter, handles the same amount of power, and it's weatherproof. So you don't have to worry about destroying it because the older one's a paper cone. Even though it's treated, it's not designed to be getting wet. So there's no excuse for not using the right parts, because we all did it. We did it ourselves in the beginning. We used to run car speakers on a bike, but now the manufacturers are starting to pay attention to the market and what we do, and they're seeing that there's actually money in it, that customers are constantly looking for louder and better sound, and we have clients that demand something that's weather resistant. It's not really an upgrade if the part that you're taking out works better than the part you're taking out. I'm not talking about sound. I'm talking about if you have a stock Harley speaker, a stock Harley 5x7, or stock Harley 6.5, and the bike gets wet, the speaker doesn't get destroyed. So if you upgrade the audio, a lot of my clients are concerned that they want the same. They bought the bike to be able to ride the bike, and if they get caught in the rain, they don't want to worry about their speakers not playing. So any line that you choose, make sure it's weather resistant. The Hertz SPL Show Neo line, every single speaker in the line is weather resistant. 3-year warranty, no questions asked. It's just, why use the wrong product when the right product's available? Diamond Audio also has a weatherproof Pro audio series. They play really loud, high efficiency, very low amount of power needed. If you're not sure if the speaker's weatherproof, because there's a lot of tricky advertising going on there. If it doesn't have the rubber boot under the tweeter, it's not weather resistant. So the speaker has to have that rubber boot under there for it to be certified for a motorcycle, be water resistant. I don't make up the rules, that's just what it is. So a lot of the competition bikes run speakers that are not weatherproof. A lot of the rider bikes that we build, customers don't want to hear it. They're willing to sacrifice a little bit of output in order to have something that's going to last and not get destroyed. This is where it's at. The only speaker in the SPL Show line that has not been upgraded to a Neo yet is the 200L. The 200 has been upgraded. They offer the Neo mid-range, but the 200L, which is the low frequency mid-bass driver that everybody runs in the bags facing the wheels, those have not been released in a weatherproof solution. But it's no big deal for us, because when we do our speaker rings and then we wrap it in the water resistant material, it keeps water off the cone of the speaker. So I'm actually glad they did it the way that they did it and released the 6.5s and the mid-range first, because those are the speakers that are out in the elements and are unprotected, especially in speaker lids where water rains down directly on the 6x and just pools there and sits there. So in the fairing you get away with it because the speaker's facing this way, so the water wicks off. With the 6x you do not get away with it because the water literally collects on the speaker until you open the speaker lid. So every speaker in the SPL Show line has been upgraded to weather resistant. The 200 has, the 165 has, the 165 coaxial has, the 25mm tweeter has. The only two part numbers that have not are the 35mm tweeter, which we're waiting on because that's what we use on the Twisted 8 lids, and the 8-inch mid-bass, not mid-range, mid-bass, the 200L. L stands for low frequency, have not been upgraded to Neo weather resistant yet. They will be. I've talked to Rob Wimpy. They're definitely working on it, but it's not done yet. So if you have any questions, just reach out, give us a call at the shop.